Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, not too bad. Um, I'm still cautious with people, but I think um, a few, if not just one person, actually understands the work I have put in combating the dark cabal for everybody for over 50 years now. So, and although the Spirit of God has helped me my entire life, that's all I listen to. I don't listen to what he said, she said. I could care less. I have one entity, one director um, that I listen to, and I do believe within that I actually have sensible female aspects that lend a hand to dual nature between God and I. I hope everybody has that type of, you know, relationship in their life. But so I'm cautious, I'm leery. I mean, I'm physically not afraid of anybody. If you cause me fear, it's gonna just get worse because there's nothing I hate worse than somebody trying to instill fear in me. Ooh, I guarantee it might last for a split second, but what comes next isn't going to be me being afraid. I just cannot stand it. It drives me nuts. I will. I'll go off in a lot of directions, unstoppable directions. And that entails just about anything short of murder, because I am never going to do anything like that. That's not my job, you know. But so yeah, I think people are getting it. The connection between all world religions. Um, I think people are finally getting it. And there's only one oversoul, so who's directing them? You know, a lot of religions are conducted and organized by the dark force. And if you fall into those limited aspects besides the Most High, if you fall into any kind of aspect, um, I mean, on this planet, there's mom and pop energies, and some people, they just care about the mom. Some people just care about the dad. See, that's their mistake. So, on this planet, in this flesh, on this level, in this realm, you're only going to get the greatest amount of help in the ether, in your heart and soul, when you recognize both hemispheres, you know, not just one, because it's the combination of the two that make all of us. So, anyway, and I knew this a long time ago. Doesn't take God out of the picture, but he is out of the picture on his own, leaving people on their own in that aspect. Can you figure it out? You know, so I mean, you can uh, beg God all day for something good to happen in your life. If it has to do um, with love and family, you're asking the wrong person on this planet for help. That's all. It's the way it is. See, I know this. For me, I know if people cross me, it's not something I do to them. In fact, I don't have to say a word or think another thought about it. That's in the ether, and my pet dragon gets you after that because of your insolence and your ignorance. Think what you want. I should say the old dragon, the great dragon would be Yah the Bayoff. Um, that energy, which is jealous and hateful towards everybody. So, and there you go with your baby Jesus. He can pretend to love you, but he doesn't. And you can think and say and do anything you want, but you're going to find out that that energy that pretended to help you has done nothing but stifle your true potential because it's not only satanic, it's driven by the dark force. And it has all to do with conditioning of the young, you know. I wonder how many older people are on their deathbed before they figure that out. Makes me wonder. I was watching I shared it in my community. It was a documentary on the great mother who they say Nix. I'd like to reiterate one thing on there. If you do watch it, they say that she came out of the darkness. And that she ruled before God. No, uh-uh. She was the light within the darkness, and they envisioned each other because they had always been together, separate, but yet together. And that's the only combination of the dark and the light, and the male and the female, is within our minds on this planet right now. And that's what people have to learn to understand and know. Nyx didn't wasn't dark, isn't dark, although she's got the personification of doing that job, but that isn't where that energy comes from. That does not come from her. That is not her place. She brings light into the world like any mom should. And if dad's got to lay down the law or go to war on her behalf, that's where that energy comes from. So they've got it a bit confused. Aside from that, it was pretty interesting, but they don't know what they're talking about. They're trying, or they're hiding it and trying to cover up the cover up, something like that. But anyway, it's interesting to hear, you know, the stuff they left out of the scriptures and all that, you know. So, so I'm a little more, I wouldn't say maybe at ease. I'm never really at ease. Um, that's against my religion. But I'm comfortable. Uh, just the fact that the dual nature within people, um, I believe, and I'm going to say, I've said it before, I believe I am the only real Christian because if you don't know what you're praising and who you're praising, how could you possibly call yourself something you don't even know about? You can't. It's a pretense, it's a sham. Well, I'm not saying there's not different types of Christians. I'm just saying at 12, when I understood the darkness within the church, then by 15, I fully knew why it was there. And in the scriptures, it says Christ cannot be found in the church. Is that the physical church? Or is that within people? Good question, huh? So I had a pretty good time over on Lady Babylon with my Satanist friends that are all just people like you and I. But why? Why would somebody hail Satan? Do you understand any of it or why? That's the reason. Does Satan approve of evil? Who holds that position? It's the Son. It's the lessening of the knowledge through the generations of birth and the lust for control without the knowledge to back it up. And that's where we get the misuse of the dark force. And that's all to see who's going to jump on the bandwagon with all that and play with those energies and try and command those energies. That's when the old dragon is going to get you. Does anybody know the story of Bel and the dragon? It's good. It's a good story. It's one of the texts they took out, but I would look into it if I were you and understand why is this woman with a dragon, and why would the woman hunt down the baby dragon and put a rope around his throat and hang him out in the window because he deserves it. That's why. So that's what I do. If you're a bad person around me, you have two options: fight or cower. And then on the other hand, they can try and do sneaky stuff. And it isn't that all my life I haven't battled the sneaky stuff, because this can be directed at me no matter where I go. It doesn't mean I'm not protected from it. And that's why I know who protects me, you know. But I also know that the female spirit, the Christ spirit within people, protects people. That old dragon doesn't. He's just watching. I'm not saying there's not the capability to keep you safe, um, or that it has never happened, but that's not the what's the word? Oh, not the it's not the reason for that energy here. That energy here is to put chaos in check. That's the true meaning of order out of chaos. That's the big dragon grabbing the little dragon by the throat and saying, "Don't go with me," you know? I do believe before I leave this planet, I'm going to see all this information out in the open and people will have a deeper understanding of their history. Wouldn't that be cool? That you could just open up the real scriptures and read it the way it was written to begin with, without the intervenence of tricksters, Judaism, languages, different things, you know. Because when stupid people ignore the fact that entire dead languages were resurrected and had vowels added to them to look like it correlates with the original text when it doesn't, and there's actual physical proof of that within timelines, chronology, ph- ph- philology, the study of languages, and other scholars, many coming together and saying, hey, this is what this says. That isn't the truth, you know. When thousands of people are in agreement with the changes in the scriptures, it's time for the average person to wake up and say, wow, we've really been screwed with, and we aren't even able to call on help from who we need it from. Then, on the other hand, there's people that think that they're deserving of help and energies that they're not worthy of calling upon, and that's dangerous. That's where Satan's going to laugh at you. He'll devour you. I'm telling you, you do not call on the Great Mother, and you're not even supposed to speak her name. Huh, this has all gotten really out of hand. People, you're going to have to pay for stupidity and ignorance if you're reading words and it tells you one thing but you ignore. I've watched people read texts and then repeat something entirely different from what they just read. It's like, that's not what that said. But if you think so, yeah, you're not thanking the Great Mother for the help she gave you. You're disrespecting her with your male genitalia. Mm, I don't mean chop it off. I mean, it's your testosterone is getting in the way of who you should pay reverence to for your ever loving life, if that's important to you, you know. Are you immortal? Do you know if you are or not? Or do you have ionic life? There's a difference. And if you're eternal, that indicates within something. That's not quite the same as immortal either. You could come back as an ant with ionic life for millions of years. You're still not going to be immortal. Immortal. You'll be internal. Everybody is. Well, energy is. You might not be, but energy is. It depends on how you conduct your life. But when you call on energy and deny the energy that's given to you, um, playing with it, actually. It's just like the Satanists. They think, oh, hail Satan, you're being stupid. You better start saying thank you, Oversoul, instead of hailing Satan. 'cause there's only one true God, and Satan is not his name. But you pay for that too. So, either way, some people I do believe that have studied Satanism know that that's really not something you play with. But some people aren't very bright, you know. That's just, I'm just giving you my thoughts for the day. Oh, I heard years ago somebody I knew standing out on a mountain, beating his chest like a great ape. I'm the king of the kings, lord of the lords. Then about 30 years later, he had his part of his anus cut out of him with colon cancer. How you doing now, King of Kings? Boy, I bet God loved that one. Mm, yeah. Oh, shit. People, right? Yeah. Oh, there's somebody who wants to know a lot about what I did and how I did it, and you'd be interested to hear an answer on this thing or that thing. There's certain things I'm not going to talk about over the internet at all. Um, that's would be for private ears only. So we'll have to have a cup of coffee and talk about stuff, but it's not anybody's welcome in my home at any time. You're most likely, no matter who you are. We'll have a cup of coffee and talk if you have some questions. But there's certain things I'm not saying out here because, first off, people don't know enough to, they'll just say, okay, fruitcake, and it's like, and then I'll want to pound your ass, so we'll just leave it there. But there's some people that, if you can think about what it took to be a huntress for God and the science behind everything and my actual knowledge of chemicals and biology, it's just kind of a natural thing. Not that I didn't study it, but it came to me pretty naturally. So you put all that together and you'll kind of understand why I was fearless in situations where I should have maybe had some fear. But with the grace, and I use that word in a humorous way, if you know language, the grace of God, um, which is downright demonic if you cross it. Something Satan carries, the grace of God. Oh, goodness. Mm. So, I had that force on my side against Yahweh. That's why I wasn't afraid, and that's why I still will challenge any demonistic little bitch that tries to come up against me. Because, yeah, I have a pet dragon. The only real one. The one that can devour the little one. And that's where I get my strength. That's where I gather that. So, I just think it's so funny if you know the big men with a certain amount of skills that have, and women. I mean, I've had women try to even poison me and all. I mean, when you're a little baby and you're vulnerable and you're raised by the dark cabal and they can't kill you when they tried, you kind of learn after a while, gee, I have some sort of protection here. My hair's all hairy today. So, anyway, is your hair hairy? Oh. Yeah, I'm feeling a little better because I went into this thinking, who's gonna actually have read enough to even get close to where I'm coming from, you know? And will a satanic congregation include an offspring of that situation? And if they don't, all hell would break loose. So we'll see how it goes. And that no, I'm not backing down. I'm standing my ground. That's why I teach Christianity way different than anybody you've ever heard because of my knowledge base. And I'm not backing down, you know. That's why. Um, was I all out to insult the oversoul? No, um, just enough to piss him off so I could stand up to him to show him just who his daughter was. That's all. Besides that, I don't have a conflict with what needs to be done to the scummy people on this planet that hurt little children. That's my number one thing in this world and why I do what I do. Um, So that's the only reason I acted like I acted. Otherwise, I'm really not rude at all. But I did have to word things to make people understand that when I was not even a teenager, I think yet, maybe 12, I could have been somewhere in between 12 and 15. I actually drank Eucharist and had a communion that wasn't your typical communion. I had the deepest understanding of what was going on in the church after that. And all this was directed by that voice within me that has always guided me with loving concern. That's how I operate. That's how I roll. And so like at a very young age I had this weird experience. Um, my friend did too, but she sort of passed out, and I could tell that it didn't affect her the same way. I think because of drugs that I had been given when I was a kid and different things that had happened to me. It was all a part of an arranged situation to try and make me into somebody that they wanted to control. That's what it was all about, was who can control the future, you know? And if there's people out there that have that type of influence, that's the type of people that they want to try and sway this direction or that direction. But if you're like way independent, like I was listening to Lady Babylon last night, and Almond's like, if somebody tells me I can't do something, he's probably gonna do it. I'm much the same, but then on the other hand, I'm super leery because people will try and bait me with that type of situation where they'll try and, you know, mold what my reactions and what I might do next, thinking that I'm going to do the opposite. That's psychology 101, reverse psychology. But if you reverse the reverse, or if you go in there thinking of all the aspects of the situation and the outcome, um, it might look like you're falling into what they want, but that's not the case. And when it comes out in your favor, they're astounded because they just can't believe that once again you came out smelling like a rose and nothing they could do. They couldn't fling their on you and make it stick. So, yeah, they hate when that happens, but it always does. If you listen to your heart, if you're guided by your heart, you're always doing the right thing. That's why I'm not afraid, you know. But like I say, there are certain things and things that I refuse to explain about any situation that I've been through, and this is including my kids and the type of warriors that they're meant to be, no matter what they choose to be. That's where my heartstrings had to make a separation because these are the times we're living in. Yeah, I was really heartbroken for a long time till I really understood who I made and why. So, yeah, it's deep. People got to understand, you know, who's your kid? Do you have children or demons, you know? So, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I do appreciate you joining me. Um, I love you all more than words could ever say. I'm just happy somebody understood. Whew, was a hard day's work, wasn't it? Yeah, but we're right there where we gotta be with all this, and there's not gonna be any discrepancies where my mind will go small for the sake of every human on this planet, you know? So nobody's ever going to get me in that position, no matter what it appears like. So I hope that made a little bit of sense to some people, and have a really beautiful weekend wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.